Are you in the
All right, so first before we get started, we're going to go over the check-in procedures for our participants. So they're going to show up. They must have a UNCW 1 card to play. And it has to be the updated UNCW 1 card. We don't take the old ones anymore. All right, then they're not going to check in at the sheds. We will have a table in front of the closet downstairs by our MAC gym. We will have jerseys out there. We'll have a pen for them to sign. We should have everything they need. Just make sure that they have a UNCW ID. More than likely, we'll have a supervisor doing this check-in process for you, but for some reason, if they don't show up, we need to pull them to do something else. We may ask you guys to help with the check-in procedure. Please check all players for jewelry. Jewelry is not permitted on any of our participants, and you are also not allowed to wear jewelry, so please check for jewelry. It is one of those things where it is an injury risk, so we don't allow any of it. Please also make sure if they're wearing our jerseys, please make sure they have sleeves on. It's just a health risk. We want their shirt to cover up the armpit, so if they're using our jerseys, please make sure they have at least a t-shirt. We do have some Greek leagues that bring their own jerseys. We don't really care what they do because it's their own jerseys. All right, this is what the check-in sheet will look like. It'll obviously have some information on it. It should have their 850 last name and first name. Then they need to sign, and we'll write down their jersey number right here, and we'll keep score throughout the half. Again, most likely you won't have to do this, but if you do, this is what the sheet should look like. Basketball, we also have some tick marks down here that goes, I believe, 1 to 80. So you can tick off the score as the time goes, so you don't have to have it just on the scoreboard. All right, so like I said, need to have an ID, no jewelry. We will provide game balls. They will all say CS, and then if it's women's, they'll say W. If it's men's, they'll say M, and then a number. We have to use our competitive sports balls. We'd also prefer if teams do not bring balls from the front desk back to our courts because we don't want them to take away from free play. We will have basketballs that they can use during warm-ups. I believe we have enough to give 2 per team, so please make sure if they're warming up with a basketball, they are ours, so we're not taking away from free play. If for some reason the ball that you're using is way too pumped up, it's too flat, something like that, we do have a pump in the closet by the MAC gym. Just ask a supervisor and they'll fix it for you. There is no dunking before, during, or after the game. If a player dunks, it is a technical foul and the basket does not count, and it is deemed unsportsmanlike. We're no longer ejecting him, correct?
No, so the dunk rule we changed about 2 years ago. If they dunk, it's a technical foul. They dunk again, now they're ejected because they get 2 technical fouls in a basketball. If you get 2 technicals, you're gone. But if they go up and dunk and for some reason decide they want to do a chin up and then really let that thing snap, they're gone. So if it's unsportsmanlike, they're ejected. If they go in and just touch the rim barely, just a technical foul, and the bucket doesn't count. We're trying to keep people in the game. If they go up and touch the rim at halftime or before the game, what do you think the easiest way to handle that situation is? Tell them to stop. What if they go up, they grab it, and then they yank on it? What do you have there? It's technical. They go up and they just touch it because they want to see how high they can jump. Usually what I say is, I'm short, I can't get up that high, please don't do it. You're not allowed to. You're like, oh, my bad. That's all you have to do. Hey, please don't go up and touch the rim or go up and grab the rim. I can give you technical. But if you hear that thing snap, and the entire gym hears it, you gotta give them a technical.
All right, you have to have 5 players on the court. You may begin with as few as 4 players, so if for some reason a team doesn't have quite their whole team there, it's game time, they only have 4 players, we will still start. And then say one of those 4 players gets injured in the middle of the game, if they still have a chance to win, so it's within a reasonable amount, like 10, 15 points, they still technically have a chance to win, we will let them continue to play. But if they go down to 3 and they're already down by 50, we're going to end the game right there. There's no point in adding insult to injury. So that's more of a, you have to read the situation type of thing. If you ever do run into this and you're not quite sure, please get one of our supervisors. They'll make the call for you. It's one of those things, I don't think I've ever seen it in my time here at UNCW. So more than likely you won't see it, but just in case, that is our rule. For substitutions, all substitutions have to go through the scoreboard person. They'll go and sit out in front of the scoreboard. At a dead ball, the official will hold up their hands, say subs, and then more than likely our scoreboard person will hit the horn as well to get their attention. But they are not to do just free subs like we do in indoor soccer or hockey or anything like that. They have to be beckoned in. If they enter during a play, that is a technical foul, and you need to ask them to go back in and wait, okay? During multiple free throws, you're not going to let the subs in until right before the last free throw. So if it's 2, you're going to wait until after the first shot. If it's 3, obviously after the first 2 shots. If it's just 1 shot, you're going to let them in before any free throws are shot, okay? We play 2 20-minute halves with a 3-minute halftime. If there's, for some reason, there's an injury or your game's just going really quick, you can take a little bit more of a halftime if you need to. More than likely what we'll do is if we're running late, we'll take a slightly shorter halftime, but again, that is the supervisor's call. If it's just a normal night, we will do 2 20-minute halves and a 3-minute halftime. During halftime is when our supervisors will take the chance to come and talk to you, maybe ask you about a play they saw that they want just a little more clarification on, maybe give you a little bit of feedback. Please listen to them. There's a reason they're in the role that they are. They worked for us for quite a bit. They have a lot of knowledge, so please listen to them and try to implement what they're talking to you about. The clock will be continuous. It will only stop during the last minute of the second half on all whistles. This should be something you don't have to worry about because our scorekeepers should be knowledgeable. But for some reason, if there's like 59 seconds and you stop the clock because the ball goes out of bounds and the clock keeps rolling, just let our scorekeeper know. So please do pay attention. Most likely you won't have to worry about it, but sometimes those games get really boring because nobody's making any shots, and so our scorekeeper might have not been paying attention for like 5 seconds and missed it. So please do pay attention to that. The clock does not stop on a made bucket, so only on the whistles. Our mercy rule is 40 points at 5 minutes left in the second half, or 20 points at 2 minutes. You will most likely only see this mercy rule, but believe me, this one does happen every now and again, even sometimes in the championship when my team's playing. Just make sure you are paying attention. It is a way to, get you out of that game a little sooner. So any way to get you guys home faster is good by our book, so make sure you are paying attention to that. If not, your scorekeeper should be paying attention to it as well. They'll sound the horn, let you know, mercy rule, game over. Okay? Timeouts. They are given 3 timeouts per game. They are 30 seconds in length. Obviously, we don't have multiple clocks in our gym, so it's just going to have to be kept in your head. If you for some reason you give them a 28-second timeout or a 35-second timeout, it's not a huge deal. Just know that you are slowing down the game when you give them a little bit longer. And if you give one team a 35-second timeout or a 45-second timeout, please make sure you give the other team the same courtesy when they call a timeout. Just make sure you're consistent. The team has to have possession in order to call a timeout. Any team can call a timeout during a dead ball, so the ball goes out of bounds. Anybody can call it, and we try to make sure it is a player on the court. If for some reason a team has a coach, you probably won't see it, but if for some reason they do, they have to tell you before the game starts that that person is my coach and they are eligible to call a timeout. You may only see it a little bit in our Greek league and maybe in our men's league, but most likely we won't have a coach out there. So it should be coming from the court. If somebody on the bench is trying to call a timeout, just let them know, hey, timeout's got to come from the court, because then they'll yell to their teammate, say, hey, dude, make sure you're calling a timeout, and then problem solved, okay? Just make sure you are communicating that with our teams. Overtime, we play a 3-minute overtime period. The clock will stop the last 1 minute. Each team will have 1 timeout per overtime. No timeouts will carry over from the previous periods. And then all fouls from the second half will carry over into overtime. So if I have 4 fouls and I get that 5th one, I'm done. So just make sure you are communicating that with your scorekeeper. Before overtime starts, go over to your scorekeeper and just ask them if anyone's in foul trouble, just so you are a little bit more prepared if you do call that fifth foul, excuse me. All right, so we've already done this. We made sure that we had this done beforehand. So you are already in your crews. If you have the iPad in front of you, you're the lucky person who gets to write in the iPad. Please go ahead and open it up. The password for our iPads is 627529. So it's 62 play. So go ahead and open up your iPad. 627529. Okay, 627529. Everyone got it open? Now there is a section, I believe it's on the left-hand side. It says crew sheets. It should be on the first page. Everyone find the section that says crew sheets?
It's actually on the first, it's on the actual home page now. It's not in crew sheets.
Okay. No.
It'll be the very first icon that you see going up.
So it should, yeah. It should say basketball and then CR. Basketball CR. Everyone got it? So you're going to put your crew number, so whichever one you are. Sydney, can you go help him? If you could put your crew number, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever one I assigned you, and then you're going to put everybody's names, first and last name in your group. This is how we're taking attendance for tonight, so if you're not on there, you're not going to get credit. Go ahead and do all the questions. There should be 2 pages worth. Can you go hit pause? Difference between a violation and a foul, and we're going to go through each one. We do have a little bit of video that we're going to use as well, and my lovely assistant Sydney is going to help me demonstrate some of these, and she also will add her input if there's anything she wants to add with her lovely knowledge. All right, so the first one's a violation. The way we can differentiate these from a foul is you're going to blow your whistle, put your hand up, open palm. It's a foul. You're going to have a closed hand, open palm for a violation. You're going to give the proper signal, so it's the travel. You're going to roll it out, and then you're going to point in the direction that the play will go next. So if it's, violation, travel, this way, okay? You're going to then point to the spot on the floor where it'll be inbound. We'll go over tomorrow, I believe, where the different inbound spots are. And then don't forget to let your fellow officials know where you're going to put the ball into. So make sure you're all communicating and you're not just having a one-man crew out there, okay? All right, so these are the different type of violations that we're going to go through. The first one we're going over is a travel. So crew 1, right? Crew 1? Well, tell me what you guys put for a travel.
Taking more than 2 steps or switching pivot foot while having possession of the ball.
All right. That's a very good definition. So taking 3 steps without dribbling, picking up the pivot foot. Also, if you're doing a jump stop, so see, you guys heard both my feet hit at the same time. If I was a jump and you heard 2 different steps, that is also a travel. So make sure if they're doing a jump stop, their feet are landing simultaneously, okay? And this is one you will see a lot when people are trying to get close to the basket. They'll jump. If you hear 2 distinct feet hitting the ground, you need to call that a travel. If it's something where it's like so close you're not sure, just let it go, okay? Don't call it unless that one's obvious. So here's an example. That guy took about 4 steps. That is very common. So make sure we're calling those. All right, we're gonna go to the next one. So we're gonna watch that one more time. Watch number 32. So he did that jump step and he went, right? Watch him get the ball. See, shuffled his feet. All right, last one, I believe. Anyone see that right there at the top of the key? He took at least 3 or 4 steps there. All right. Crew 2. Give me what you guys put about 5 seconds closely guarded. Right here. Well, any of you guys can answer. 627529. Just want you guys to give me your best guess. It doesn't have to be correct. We prefer it would be.
You're up close guarding someone and they're not dribbling for more than 5 seconds.
Okay.
Kind of like pivoting and
Most of that I would agree with. What would you consider to be close enough to start the count?
I guess if your arm's like close to them.
Okay.
touching them, but close.
So we say 6 feet. So obviously a lot of our players out there are going to be around 6 feet. So really, if I'm this close to Sydney, maybe a little bit further back, that's considered closely guarding. So you have to be within 6 feet. The vendor has to have both feet on the ground. And if you're coming in, you have to be facing her. So I can't, this is not closely guarding her. No, I have to have my shoulders open to where she is, okay? All right, so the way you can, a count can end. So she can be standing there just dribbling, and I'm standing close to her. This is still closely guarded. If she's not doing anything, I'm not doing anything. As soon as she stops dribbling, the count stops. And then you start again, okay? So she's dribbling, I'm closely guarding. We got 1, 2, 3, she stops. I count a new count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another way that this can end is if I back up, I give her space. As soon as I'm outside of that 6-ish foot area, the count ends. Or if she's just really good, I get up close and then she passes me. Both ball and shoulder have to pass me, okay? Any questions about closely guarded?
Also with that, the defender doesn't just have to back up. Like, say if Flora's guarding me and I come and I back up far enough away that's out of the 6 foot range, that stops the count. So.
Yeah. So you can have multiple of these in a possession. Just make sure you are, if you're switching, make sure you're switching hands. So if somebody isn't hearing you count, they can see visually that you switched counts, okay? All right, we got some video. So they're closely guarded, wouldn't you say? He's not doing anything. There you go. So make sure you guys are counting that. We'll watch one more time. He's within 6 feet. He's facing him. Nothing's happening. As soon as it hits 5 seconds, boom, plays over, goes the other way. All right, crew 3, right? What'd you guys play for backcourt?
If you dribble past the half-court line and then come back instead of staying.
Okay, absolutely, except one distinction is you have to have 3 points to go all the way back behind the court. So I dribble the ball, I get across half court. If I'm just standing at the line and the ball's on the other side, but my feet are still in the front court, that's not back court. I need to have both feet and the ball all in the back court before it can be a back court violation. Okay?
Well, time out, explain that again. So, to get into front court, like she said, here's my division line right here. Front court, back court. Perfectly legal to bounce this ball in the back court and still go back. If I touch that line and come back, nothing has happened. I have to have all 3 in the front court for that count to end. So you said all 3 have to be in the back court for it to be a violation?
Mm-hmm.
No, once you get front court status with both feet and the ball, as soon as this ball, while in my possession, touches the back court in my possession, not on a pass or deflected pass, in my possession touches the back court, we have a back court violation. If my foot hits this line or anything back here, then we have a back court violation. If Laura, or if I'm in the front court, Sydney's in the back court, and I pass it, it's only a violation when she touches it, not when it bounces in the back court. It has to be possessed by my team in the back court for it to be a back court violation.
Appreciate it, Andy. All right, so we got a couple videos. All 3 points were in the front court and then he went back. Watch that one more time. 2 feet, then the ball, and then he goes back. See that back foot? We'll watch it one more time. Watch your back foot right about here. So she just touches that line, it's a backcourt violation. All right, 4, crew 4 over here. What'd you guys put for a kick?
Your foot making contact with the ball.
Okay, so very good, but one thing that you have to add is it has to be intentional. So if I'm playing defense and she just dribbles it and I'm guarding and she dribbles it on my foot, that's not a kick because I didn't intentionally put my foot out. But if she's passing into someone and I kick it like that, that's obviously going to be a kick. So it has to be intentional. Use your judgment on that one. If it looks somewhat intentional, go ahead and call it.
It's from the waist down, not just the foot. The waist down, so any part of the leg.
So sticking anything out. All right. So this is going to be a really quick video, so make sure you're watching. It's going to be on the left-hand side. So you see that guy? Right about here. He sticks that leg out last second and kicks the ball. So he was intentionally trying to get in the way. And unfortunately, this guy's a repeat offender. He does it again. He sticks his foot out and kicks the ball. No one called it. That's one of those obvious ones. It looks funky, so there's obviously something there. He kicks the ball. You need to kill that play as soon as it happens. He even knew it happened. He looked at the ref like, oh, okay. And kept going. All right. So we got 5 in the back. What did you guys put for carry/palming?
Underneath the ball like this.
Okay. It's a good definition. So basically, anytime the ball comes to rest on your hand, so it comes to rest and then you go back to dribble. Obviously, if I'm dribbling and I hold the ball like this and I don't go back to dribble, it's not a carry. I'm just holding the ball. Holding the ball very stupidly because anyone can get it, but they have the ball come to rest on their hand and then they continue to dribble. That's when you're going to call it a carry or a palming. So he had a signal over there too. This is a carry.
Is that the correct hand gesture?
Yes, it is.
And normally when you see this, it'll look weird. Like it'll look like very prolonged. And a lot of the like club guys or any of guys who play basketball, you'll see it, but it's really, really fast. So it's something you might not catch on the first go round. But once you see it, like make note of it and think, oh, next time like try and catch that. 'Cause that's one of those that'll be really fast and you'll see it. And you'll want to call it late, but if you don't want to, just get it on the next ball.
So also, it's typically used just when it's a hesitation, so they're just trying to get the defender off guard and then trying to get through the lane. So it's, like you said, it's going to be a really quick. So did you guys see that? He brought the ball all the way back and then forward. Watch it one more time. I hope all y'all's carry calls are that obvious this season. All right, so he's a repeat offender. He's going to do it again. Just did it again. He brought it all the way back and had it rest on his hand and brought it back forward. All right, so back to crew number 1. What is the lane violations? We have 2 different ones. We have immediate lane violation and the delayed lane violation. Give it your best shot.
Well, a lane violation is on a free throw if a person, if you're in the, anyways, it's either on the rim when it's after the release or till it hits the rim, depending where you're at. If you're from the 3-point line, it's.
Yeah, you got it. All right, so the immediate one is going to be on the shooting team in the lane space. So if Sydney is shooting a free throw and I'm in the lane, I have to wait until she releases the ball before I can even move. All right, and if I move into the lane and I'm on the shooting team, then it's immediately you're going to kill the ball, a lane violation. Another one is the shooting team enters the 3-point arc, so I'm outside the 3-point arc and I enter it before the ball hits the backboard or the rim. Or if the shooter goes into the lane before the ball hits. So in our league, everyone in the lane has to wait until the ball is released before they can move into the lane. The shooter and everyone behind the 3-point arc have to wait until the ball hits the rim or the backboard before they can cross into the lane. Okay, so any of the violations on the shooting team is going to be immediately kill the basket, no good. Delayed is going to be the non-shooting team. So if they enter the lane or the three-point arc, it's going to be delayed. Anyone know why we have that distinction?
Well, because if they make it, the shooting team makes it, you don't want to penalize it.
Absolutely. So if they just happen to step in the lane and it doesn't mess up the shooter at all, we're not going to hurt the shooting team if they make the basket. So you're just going to do a delayed signal, put your hand up. If they make it, you're just going to put your hand down. If they miss it, you're going to blow your whistle and you're going to have them reshoot it again. Okay? You guys get that distinction? All right, we're going to watch a video real quick.
And then just break everything down and watch a little bit more of the next game.
Did you guys see who the violation was on? The shooter. So she left as soon as she let go of that ball. We're going to watch it one more time.
Break everything down and watch a little bit more of the next game.
You can hear Andy doing commentary in the background. All right. So now we've got basket interference and goaltending. So you guys just went, this group right here. What's the difference between a basket interference and goaltending?
Basket interference is under the basket, goaltending is over.
Okay. I like it. Fairly close. So basket interference is when it's touched by either team and it's within the cylinder. So it's either in the rim or in the net. Typically you'll see it, somebody will go in and punch the ball out. It's fairly obvious. If the defense commits the violation, the basket counts. If the offense commits this violation, the basket doesn't count. Why the offense would go in and punch their own ball out of the goal, I have no idea, but it has happened. We actually have a video of it in a minute. But make sure you guys are watching. As soon as it's in the cylinder, it is basket interference. Goaltending can only be committed by the defense, excuse me. And the ball has to be in the downward flight for it to be goaltending. So if I'm shooting and I'm really short and somebody comes up and blocks my shot before it's in its downward flight, it's just a block. And it happens quite a bit because I'm short. The ball must be above the rim, like you said. And it has to have a chance to go in. So if I completely airball and it's definitely not going in, and somebody knocks it when it's on its downward flight, you're not going to call that goaltending. Okay? So it has to look like it has a chance to go in. Any questions about these two? Yes.
We call it if it's on the backboard and somebody pins it against the backboard, we still call them goaltending?
I'm going to let you answer that one because that's an isolated instance.
High school federation. So in high school, and ironically I have a play that I don't have, but I'll show it Wednesday night next week. If they're going to lay it in and it hits the backboard and they hit it off the backboard and it's still going up and it's not over that cylinder, it's a legal play.
You do this all the time, right?
Now, if
You do this all the time.
it hits the backboard and it's starting to come over the bucket and then they tap it and it's coming down, then we score the bucket. The other question we always get is, what if they go up and miss and slap the backboard? What do you think we have? It does not depend where the ball is. It depends, did they legitimately go and block the shot? If I go up and I legitimately try to block the shot, the only thing that stops, the only difference between me swinging and missing on a regular shot and me swinging and hitting the backboard is that backboard. So if I go up and I try to block Laura and I just whiff right here, nothing's stopping me, right? We go for a layup and I go to hit it and I whiff and I hit the backboard, that backboard's stopping me, right? If I legitimately try to go for the basketball, I try to block it, and it hits that rim and it pops out, nothing. If Laura goes to lay it up on the left side, I come on the right side and I smack that rim and it pops out, technical foul. It doesn't matter what happens to the ball. So if they do that and that ball pops out, it is not basket interference and we do not score that bucket. The ball has to go through the hoop for it to be counted. If I go up and smack the wrong side of the backboard, or she goes to lay it in, I'm just so mad I'm a second late, and then I hit it, technical foul. It doesn't happen very often, but you will see it. So just remember that. If they go legitimately try to block the shot, let it go. If they're on the other side and they don't, technical foul. We'll show one of those up here.
All right, we'll watch this video.
That's going to happen in the top left side of your screen.
So that ball was already in the cylinder when he punched it out. So what would that be? Basket interference, okay? What's the result of that? Count the bucket. Absolutely. It was on the defense, so you count the bucket. What would you guys call that one? Basket interference, absolutely. It was already in the cylinder.
This is a stupid play. This is a stupid play by Gold. His teammate has scored on this bucket. It is in the net, and he goes, boop, and pokes it out. It's basket interference. No good.
That's a great call, Andy.
I know it is.
I love the new one.
All right.
It's a stupid play. This game was a 2-point ball game until like mid fourth quarter. So,
Done watching yourself.
I don't make a call. Is this a correct call or an incorrect call?
Incorrect.
One more time. Slide it back. Why is that? Is that correct or incorrect? Why? He went for the ball. Yeah, he didn't quite get the backboard, but he got the pass and shook it a little. I asked my partner, because I was going to lead, I asked my partner what he called. He said, "That's basket interference." Not only did this is a last year video, not only did this happen last year to me, it happened this year to me. My partner goes, "Yeah, it was just such an egregious thing that I had to call it." Now, if you do, it's a technical foul. I kicked myself because I didn't go ask my partners what they had. They just said score. Because as lead, I'm not looking at the ball. I'm looking for a foul. That's what my partner coming up at C is for, is to look to see where there could be basket interference or goaltending. So we'll talk about crew dynamics tomorrow. That's one of these things. I'm not looking for the ball. I don't care if it goes in. I care if there's a foul.
All right, let's watch that one more time. All right. So other violations we have are double dribble. It's obviously when you dribble it twice with two different hands. So if you're dribbling the ball and you go like this with two hands, obviously it's a double dribble. If you're dribbling and you rest it on your hip and then you dribble again, that's a double dribble. You have any other examples of double dribble for me?
People will dribble it and they'll stop and like wait to pass or shoot, and then they will dribble it again because either they forget or they think you're not paying attention. I have done it before as a player and I feel stupid because I'm like, oh, you know, but as an official, like, see that, catch it, because the other team will probably look at you if you don't and be like, did you see a double dribble? And it was probably there. So just pay attention to that.
10 seconds in the backcourt. Obviously you have 10 seconds. Oh, go ahead.
What about like someone down low and does like a power dribble with two hands, like just move their pivot foot, like it's like a legal move, but like a power dribble with two hands.
What he's talking about is like,
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's not a double dribble.
No.
Right.
No, if I go,
Right.
I mean, yes, but if I just do one, yeah, go up, then it's
Right.
fine, 'cause it's one dribble.
So two, it says it has to be two dribbles with two hands.
Yeah, so, here you go. So it's, dribbling is intentionally pushing the ball towards the ground. So if I push the ball down and then pick it up and then go up, I'm not dribbling again. It's that double intentional push after it's the intentional push after I grab it again. So it's whether it's I'm going one and picking it up and then going down again, that's double dribble, or if I'm just going double-handed and then up, that's when you have the issues if he goes down twice, then he goes up.
And let's say I'm just really bad at dribbling, which if I play basketball this semester you'll see, and I for some reason just let the ball graze my hip when I'm dribbling. Don't penalize me for being a sucky dribbler. It's not double dribble if it just grazes your hip, because it didn't help me at all. I didn't gain an advantage by it grazing my leg, so that's not double dribble. 10 seconds in the backcourt, obviously like we described earlier, you have 10 seconds once the ball is passed in. If I pass it into Sydney, as soon as she has possession, that 10-second count starts, and she has 10 seconds to get all 3 points in the front court. 5 seconds out of bounds, once the official gives if I am the official and I give the ball to Sydney, she has 5 seconds to throw the ball inbounds, and that count does not stop until the player inbounds has the ball, right?
The ball's released.
Okay, till the ball's released. So if I 1, 2, 3, and I pass it, we're all good. All right? So let me know what the violation is here. You guys already know what it is. I hear you in the back. Do you see it? Do you guys see what it was? I mean, Andy did the signal, so it's kind of obvious what it was, but he dribbled with both hands. All right, we'll get it one more time quickly. All right. This one's fairly obvious. As soon as you hit that 5, you're not giving him 5.5. As soon as you hit 5, you're killing it. All right, other violations? Yeah, go ahead.
So just to clarify for the question we had about that two-handed dribble, the difference between this and going up and what we had on that was he was dribbling like this, and then he put two-handed one up. Did you guys understand kind of the difference between that two? So just to clarify based on what we just talked about.
Thank you. So spot violation, this is when the official, you give him, you say, all right, spot, and you pass it to him. He cannot move. They have within 3 feet, so really 1.5 feet on either side, so they can take a step this way, they can take a step this way, they can move backwards if they want. They have as much space backwards as they can get. In the MAC gym, there's not a whole lot, but they have as far back as they need. But it's just, as soon as they go outside that 3-foot area to throw it in, so typically you'll get a couple steps to the side, that's a spot violation. 3 seconds in the lane. This is going to be honestly probably the hardest violation for you to catch. I know honestly it's hard for me to catch when I'm officiating. I know Sydney probably has a hard time with it too. But it's when there's a player in the lane for 3 seconds and they do not exit the lane completely. Okay? So here's the lane right here. I'm playing defense, or I just want to get a rebound. That's all I care about. So I'm just standing in the lane, not doing anything. I don't move out at all. It's 3 seconds in the lane. Yes, sir.
So the defensive is 3 seconds too. It's not any longer for defense than it is offense.
No, we don't have any defense. We're not NBA. Defense can do whatever they want.
Right.
It's on the offense.
All right, then we got a held or a jump ball. So obviously that's if I'm playing against Sydney and we both have possession of the ball. You're gonna call it a jump ball, okay? And we'll have a possession arrow out there for you. It's also if I'm playing against Sydney and most likely I'm gonna block her shot and I come and I have my whole hand on top of the ball when I'm blocking her, that's also a jump ball, okay? And then other one's excessive swinging of the elbows, which is very self-explanatory. Basically, it's when you're fighting for the ball, you'll see a lot of people, they'll just start swinging their elbows because they don't want you to take the ball, so they're trying to elbow you out of the way. It'll be very obvious when you see that one, so hopefully that one's not too complicated. So there's a difference between me moving around like this and me trying to elbow somebody. You'll be able to tell a difference.
Immediately go to the other team. And then with the jump ball, do you just stop it on the spot and then do the jump ball like right there?
No, so that's why we have a possession arrow. The possession arrow will tell you which way the jump ball goes.
So there's only like one actual like jump ball at the beginning of the game or at the beginning of overtime. After that, the scorekeeper will keep possession, like get the possession arrow. So if you don't remember it, you can go ask the scorekeeper and we can tell you like whose ball it is because we should be keeping track of that.
It should be on the scoreboard too. It'll point to the side which team gets it. So basically, Sydney's team wins the jump ball. That means the possession arrow is on my team. So the next time we have a jump ball, it'll be my ball. And then once my team has legally passed it in, the possession arrow will then switch to Sydney's team. And it'll do that back and forth the entire game. All right, so now we've moved to fouls. So like I said, the distinction between the two is what your hand looks like when you're putting your hand up. So a foul, You're going to put your hand in a fist up just like that. You're going to give the proper signal. So say we have foul, hit.
Question about violations. If
Mm-hmm.
you're inbounding, defender crosses the line, are we like warning them or is it a straight technical? Like if the defender crosses the line, they inbound and block it?
So you got a couple different situations there. So if I've got my line here and I just cross it, or I cross the boundary, we kill the play, we back it up, we give them a warning, a delay of game warning. If I do it a second time, it's a technical foul. If Sydney's the ball handler out of bounds, or the thrower in, and I go and I contact the ball, that's a technical foul. If she goes to throw it in and I contact her on the arm, it's an intentional foul. So you've got to know what happened. If I just cross the line and I swing and miss and nothing happens, delay. If I do it a second time, any more. If I do it again, if I do it 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, it's a technical foul on that play. If I hit the ball, technical foul. If I hit Sydney, it's an intentional foul. The difference is a technical foul, they get 2 shots and the ball at the division line. Intentional foul, they get 2 shots and the ball right back here at the spot of the foul. So, yeah, there's a couple different things that can happen.
All right, so like I was saying with fouls, you put your fists in the air, you're going to do the signal so it's a hit, and then you're going to indicate what will happen next, whether you're shooting, whether you're taking the ball out of bounds, so you need to differentiate, or you're going to do 2 shots, or if it's a spot foul. If the ball is out of bounds, you need to point where the ball will be in the next, like when you're inbounding the ball. So you need to point, and like I said, we're going to go over where inbound spots are later. And again, don't forget to tell your fellow officials where you're inbounding it. That way everyone knows what's going on. Once you've done that preliminary, that is when you'll go report the foul to the score box, because we will tally it. We'll go over that in more detail tomorrow. You actually will get some experience practicing calling fouls and then reporting them to the score box. So fouls, basically anytime someone's rhythm, speed, balance, or quickness is interrupted, more than likely there is a foul, unless it's me and you're just clumsy and I'm running down the floor and I can't dribble and the ball goes all over the place. But anytime another player interrupts one of those 4 things, more than likely you have a foul. So make sure you are paying attention to those things. Anytime someone's freedom of movement is restricted, so if I'm guarding Sydney, she has the ball, and I'm just kind of like this, I've got all this contact on her, that's obviously a foul. And a lot of times with post play, as soon as she gets the ball in post play, I don't have that arm bar anymore, okay? So as soon as the ball is in the post, she's got the ball, I've got to be just hands up. I can't touch her, okay? That's an easy foul to call. And at no time am I going to get bigger than my body. If I stick my knee out and she drives down the lane, that is going to be a block. I have to stay within my body when I'm blocking her.
Also, a lot of times, like in the post, that'll happen is they might not have the arm bar, they might have like the leg or something. They could have both, but watch for that. Normally it's the arm bar, but a lot of times like it'll be all of it, and they'll try and hide it, but like you'll see it and it's really easy to call.
All right, these are your type of fouls that we'll go over today. A lot of them are fairly obvious in the title, like hit, obviously is a hit. But there are some that are a little bit more tricky, like hand check or illegal screen. So the first one's hit or illegal use of hands. Did we finish up with you guys last? All right, so what'd you guys put for hit? I hope it's not too difficult.
Yeah, that kind of was, I've seen the word. I get just like, I guess just slapping someone intentionally instead of going for the ball. Like
Right.
you grab someone's hand if you're going for the ball, I guess that wouldn't be a foul, would it?
If it impedes any of those 4 things. So if you're going for a shot and I'm trying to block it, but I hit your hand, that's still, it's keeping them from being able to complete their shooting motion. So yeah, so hitting another player with your hands or arms. If the player is straight up, so if I'm blocking Sydney and she goes to shoot and her hand for some reason hits my hand, I didn't intentionally hit her at all. I didn't move out of my way to hit her, so that's not a shot. All right, so this is going to be fairly obvious. He goes to block the shot and he comes down and just hits the crap out of him. So this is what, honestly, you're going to see a lot of these in a game. I'm sorry, I keep blocking you. All right. So again, he's going up for a shot. They try to block him, but he hits the shooter in the arm first.
Question.
Yes.
If they were to not drop their arm down like that, do you still, like, if they like jumped and kept their arms perfectly straight, do you still call it? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause, or they like completely drop their arm all the way and like make that.
No, right?
Think about it this way.
They didn't get an advantage.
It's called principal verticality. I get from the base of my feet as high as I can jump.
All the way
I
up.
jump like this, and I don't move, and I don't come into the offensive player. Perfectly legal. Now, if Sydney would come into me, I'm like right here, and I would jump, and she hits me in the stomach. What's my natural reaction? Is to go like this, right? If you punch somebody in the stomach, they're gonna double over. So if I jump and she hits me and I come down on her, who should the foul be on? Why?
Sydney, always.
You went straight up.
She did something wrong. I did everything legal. So think about it that way. Whenever you call a foul or a violation, or in this case a foul, who committed the wrong act? She did. I did everything I was supposed to do. We'll talk about that in block charge. Who commits the wrong act? That's what we're gonna do.
So that was another one. He didn't go straight up. All right, hand check. This group right here, what'd you guys put for hand check?
So it's where like crosses like the front court and like they haven't like moved possession, but you're still like almost like not really making contact with, or you're like making contact with the hand and not the ball.
Okay. So really it's anytime you're guarding somebody and you go outside of your body with your arm to poke it. So she tries to go around me and I block her like this, or I'm going for the ball and I hit her like that. Anytime you stick your arm out and you create contact with your arm is when it's going to be a hand check. It's also placing two hands. So she's coming up to guard and I push her, or just make contact and hold her still. Anything like that. So like we said, disrupting a player's rhythm, speed, or balance with your hands. Anytime like that.
And one thing with that, like if I was on defense, I can come up. If I like tap her once and back up, like that's fine. If you like continuously like tap at her, that could be called hand check too.
So you see he stuck his hand out there and interrupted his rhythm and his speed. Okay, so he stopped him from having full motion all the way to the basket. Again, he stuck his hand out to try to stop him. You'll see this a lot of times when the offensive player is just a lot faster than the defender and they run right by him and they do everything they can just to stop him.
Is this reaching too? You just call it reaching?
No, it's a hand check. We don't have a reaching foul. All right, next is a body foul. So since you guys answered in the back, this crew right here, what's a body foul? Or I guess your group? 5, sorry. You guys are in the back.
Body foul?
Mm-hmm.
So like using your body to commit the foul, like other than like your hands and
Right.
actually anything but your hands. Basically.
Yeah, basically. So Cindy's going up and I'm pretending like I'm going straight up, but I stick my hip into her. Anytime I use basically from your shoulders down to block, you'll see a lot of times when people are trying to get away with, you know, anything like that, they're going to throw their hip into the other player. They're trying to sell it, obviously, that they weren't doing anything, but they're going outside their body. So hip, chest, back, anything, like you said, anything basically but your hands and your head, really. So you see, their hands are up, but they're trying to get away with that push with their hips. That one, he went up to block the shot and he stuck his butt out, and he disrupted the shooter's ability to go up and shoot. So this is one you see a lot. They just ride the defender, or the offensive player. They just ride them all the way up to the basket to try to keep them going full speed. So they're not fully, you're not going to see them fully displace the other person, but the whole time I've got contact with her, okay? So I'm using my body to keep her from scoring. All right, back up here to crew one. What did you guys have for block foul?
Your body being bigger, wider than shoulder width apart, and not in a legal guarding position.
So block, like he said, you're impeding the ball handler's progress. You must get to the spot first. So if Sydney's dribbling and she gets a spot, but I jump into her, she got to that spot first. So obviously that's a block foul, okay? The defender must have both feet on the ground. You must have, must be facing the defender, and you can't be moving towards her. So I can't be moving towards her to take a block. Okay, same thing, you gotta beat them to the spot. A lot of times what you'll see is when there's a block, both players will bounce out. So she'll come and she'll hit me, and we'll both fall back, okay? A lot of times with a charge, you'll see the offensive player just take out the defensive player. Okay, so that's the difference, yeah.
What about people like do screen thing? Does that count? You know what I mean?
You could call it a block, but the correct term would be an illegal screen. I think it's actually a couple slides from here. I'm getting a little ahead of us, yeah. So any questions about a block? We're about to see a couple videos on it. So you see, he jumped into the player, okay? So the offensive player beat him to the spot, he jumped way into him. Again, you can't be moving towards the player. So he was still moving sideways when the player got there. So the offensive player beat him to the spot, and he just got taken out. So this is a good call. This could also be called a body foul because he rides them out all the way down to the basket. Just make sure you are getting those. All right, so charge. This is kind of the opposite. What do you guys put for charge?
You have possession of the ball and you're just walking through people.
Yeah. So what Andy tells us when you're calling a charge, you have to go to and through the defender. So I have to displace the defender who's guarding me. So like I said, a lot of times with the block, they're going to bounce apart from each other, or one's going to fall to the side, but both players are most likely going to fall in opposite directions. In a charge, that offensive player is going to and through the defender, okay? So you'll see a lot of times it'll be like a push off before they shoot, or they're just going into the post, and they just go all the way through the defender. The key is the defender has to be in legal guarding position, and they have to be in that spot first in order to take a charge, okay? If she goes through me, but she beats me to that spot, I jump into her and she goes through me, I wasn't in legal guarding position, so I can't take a charge. So I have to be in legal guarding position before she can get to and through to get that charge call, okay? A lot of them you'll see is just pushing off of the arm, anything like that. So again, to and through is what you guys want to remember. So you see he extends his arm, he pushes off that defensive player. Right there. So that defender was in legal guard position, and he jumps to the defender and then all the way through him. He was there all day before the offensive player got there. So watch it again. Nope, there it is. So So the defender was there the whole time. I think he even extended an elbow a little bit. It's all the way at the end. I keep forgetting you're back here. I'm sorry. Okay. You could even call it on that push off right there. So he goes through that defender. Something to add, Andy?
So this is one of the toughest calls to make in basketball. So a little bit of philosophy on how to referee. Who do you think you watch when you have this call? Why?
You want to make sure his feet are staying in position.
Because that's probably who's going to commit the foul. You have more blocks in game than you do charges, typically. So you're right. You want to see, does he or she have their feet set? Are they taking contact? If I'm set and that person brushes off the side of me, you may not have anything. But if that defender is there, that's how we're going to officiate. If Sydney's my ball handler, beats me and gets to Laura, we've got to know that's a secondary defender and somebody else may have that call. So if one of you comes up like this and goes block, and the other one goes charge, we've got a problem.
Blarge.
We've got a blarge, and you've got to report both of them. So if you have a block charge situation, the best thing to do is come out, hold, look at your partner and go charge, or block, or I got this call. Because if you do this and your partner does this, we've got a problem. Also, you want to watch, once you have the defender, they're in legal guarding position, they can give ground, like Laura said. So if Sydney's coming at me, and I'm like, all right, I go like this, and then she puts her forearm in my chest and throws me back, that's on her. Because once I start here, I can give ground. That's a common misconception that, well, they're moving. You're right, they are. And it's legal. But if they throw up that arm out or she comes to and through me, that's going to be a charge. Look for the lowering of the shoulder or that extension. This trumps if they're moving. This trumps if they're moving. Because that means she wants to go through me regardless of where I am. Short of her putting her shoulder down and me just going like this, we're going to have a charge. So remember that when you're officiating that play. If you have a double whistle, because more than likely you will, hold and wait and look at your partner. If you go boop and your partner goes like this and you're like, oh, he or she is wrong, guess what? They're right on that play because you've got to let them die by that one. You can talk about those plays. If you come up and you hold, your partner looks at you and says, you take it, and you go like this, your partner goes, oh, crap, that was a bad call. That's a call you got to live with. So just remember that when you have those calls.
And that's something you need to make sure you're talking about with your crew before the game starts. Just a reminder, hey, when we have a block, when we have a charge, make sure you, and there's a double whistle, make sure you wait and get that signal from me or confirmation from me. Because if you don't talk about it before the game, it's not going to be fresh in your mind. And then you're going to go into the game and you're going to be in the pace of the game and you're just going to make that call and then you're going to realize that it was wrong or your partner had something else.
So like in basketball, like, cause I know in like flag football, if there's like different calls or you're not sure of something, you can like consult all your refs. Can you do that in basketball and like these kind of calls? Like if you guys both said something different, like do you just consult or do you just like give one person?
So it's like what Andy said, if you guys both come out calling it without communicating before, you come up with a charge, I come up with a block, we have to report both of those.
Typically, when you have a foul call, it's only your whistle. You don't consult. But if you come with your fist up and I come with my hand open, what does that mean? If I have this, what does this tell people I have?
Violation.
What does this tell people you have? All right, so can we have both of those? No. One may cause the other. I push Sydney into a travel. Sydney travels into a block. That you can talk about. Especially if I come here and I start going like this, you're like, nope. One caused the other. But if I go up and we both like this and I go block and you go charge, there's no talking about that.
Okay.
If you put air in the whistle and then you have a hit foul on Laura, you have a hit foul on Laura. Don't be like, beep. Hey, do you see something different? We can't do that.
It disrupts the pace of the game.
Yep.
Okay.
So rarely do you come together, but there are certain times that you should.
But if there's rule interpretation, like you want to know where to inbound the ball or whether or not the basket counts or something like that, if you need a rule interpretation, you can absolutely use your partners for that. Yeah, it's just a lot of times you're going to have the best view because we'll talk about tomorrow and the next day the different areas that each position will watch. So more than likely, Sydney should not be watching in that area if you make that call. But absolutely, if you have a rule interpretation, you should talk to your partner.
Okay.
All right, now we're getting to that illegal screen after the question.
Are we recording numbers and fouls for the tape? Yeah.
Yep, because we'll be keeping track of them on the sheet of paper. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this freebie. So illegal screen is when you're moving basically outside of your body to get that screen. So anytime Sydney's dribbling and I go outside of my body, I stick my leg out or I move so she's going to dribble by me and I go, whoop, nope, sorry, can't get by me. Anytime I move outside of my body to get that screen, anything, putting my arms out, yes.
So that's the same like I've seen girls like go like this when they're blocking and then they like stick their elbows out when they're.
So yeah, that would be a foul. If you have a girl who puts her arms over her chest and doesn't extend, that's not a foul because that's just her protecting. Yeah, but if she pushes off, yeah, that would be more of a push than an illegal screen. But I like where your head's at. All right, so we're gonna see some video. Anyone have a question about illegal screens? All right, we're gonna watch a couple videos. So if you watch number 3 right here, we'll watch it again. Watch number 3. Number 3 is right here. Watch this guy. So you see the guy runs into him and then he like sticks his leg out and his hip out to make sure they doesn't get around him.
Carry a spot right there.
So watch right here. So he sticks his arm, he's all the way outside of his body blocking that guy. Watch it one more time. Watch number 1 right here. Sticks his butt out, right? Watch it one more time. We got number 1. He's right here. Rewatch the play in a second. All right. What number 1? It'll be like right here on the screen. Sticks his butt out right there.
That was about the 4th one they did in that game. All right, so a couple things on screening. If Laura's got the ball, and Sydney comes to screen me. So I'm guarding Laura. Laura's right here. If she's going to come set a screen, she has to give me time, what's called time and distance. What does that mean?
You know the screen's coming.
You gotta be able to know the screen's coming. Basically, if I can see her in a 180 of my peripheral vision, basically, if she comes up and sets that right here on my hip, she's completely fine to do that, short of contact. Now, if Laura's right here and she wants to set a back screen on me, how much distance do you think she can give?
Step back, right?
One step, right? So I should be able to turn without hitting her. So if she's behind me and I turn and then I hit her, I gave him time and distance. But if she's right here on my hip and I can't turn and move, that's a legal screen on her. So anywhere in the field of vision, they can be right here. If I turn and I don't see them, I got to give them a step. This one's tough to call when you have that. The other thing they talked about, like you said, the arms up. This is fine. This is fine. This is not fine. This is not fine. The knee, the hip, the hands. Yes, ma'am.
So do they have to like plant and have the screen, or like if they're like this, like they don't like stick out in any way, but they like
shuffle, like they go around and then they like shuffle and kind of like block them like that?
Then they're moving in that case. So like if they're trying, if Laura has the ball and she's trying to screen me, and I'm going this way and she keeps moving, this is an illegal screen.
Okay.
Because she's moving into me.
Okay.
Now, if I slip that and get by her, we got nothing. There has to be contact for an illegal screen. Just because I go like this and with doesn't mean we have an illegal screen. Or if Sydney goes around, I go like this and I completely miss her and she goes the long way around, nothing. Now in the back of your mind, he goes, this idiot's going to set another illegal screen at some point in this game. I'm going to watch him or her. Because they're out there going like this. So remember that. Good question. Go.
All right, the next two are fairly obvious. Hold anytime you're preventing the player from going forward. So grabbing the jersey, bear hugging, anything like that. If you're preventing them from moving forward, you're holding them. This can be called on offense or defense. So if I'm playing offense and I set a screen, but she's about to go around me and I grab the shirt and I don't let her go, that's a hold. So it can be on either side. Same with a push. Really, obviously we all know what a push is. You extend your arms. That's what you need to be looking for. You're looking for displacement. Okay? So watch her right here. See that push? Push with the hip. So they got a nice little push right there. So these fouls can happen off the ball too. One more time. Push. Watch these guys right here. The whole time. Both pushing each other. They're not being, they're being really obvious about it too. They're not hiding it at all. All right, so special types of fouls. We have intentional and technical fouls. Intentional fouls, obviously, is when someone they foul the player without going after the ball. Basically, intentional fouls is exactly what it says it is. They're doing it intentionally. So the offended team will get 2 shots and the ball will go back to the point of interruption, okay? So this is the difference between an intentional and a technical foul, like Andy was saying earlier. So make sure you remember intentional fouls goes back to the spot of interruption because you don't want the offended team to lose ground, okay? Technical foul is when you do anything out of contact. You punt the ball, you slap the backboard, you dunk the ball, anything like that. You say a cuss word, you're taunting it all. That's when you're going to call a technical foul. Okay, and we'll go over sportsmanship a little bit later. But that's the offended team will get 2 shots and the ball will go back to the half court line. Okay, no matter where the technical foul happened, the ball will go to the half court line.
Also, with intentional, I know towards the end of some games, it will get chippy. You will have those people who, like, if Laura has the ball and like she passes it and then I intentionally hit her, you know they're trying to go for the foul to stop the clock if it's under a minute. So just be aware of that because it may not actually be an intentional foul. Like, you know they're going for the foul because it's the end of the game. They need the clock to stop. But there's a difference between that and then me going after Laura when she's long past the ball and I just go after her. So just be aware of that because you will see in a lot of games, like if it is close, they will try and stop the clock to get the ball.
That's good. Any question about the special type of fouls? Nope. All right. All right, so like we said, when you're shooting for a missed basket, so I go up to shoot, I completely airball it, but it doesn't matter. Sydney fouled me while I was in the act of shooting. You get 2 shots. Once you get 7 fouls on one team, you're going to go to 1-and-1. 1-and-1 means you get a chance to shoot a free throw. You miss that free throw, your chances are over. But if you make that first free throw, you get another chance. Okay? And that's if there's 7 team fouls on one team. As soon as we get to 10 team fouls, you're going to shoot 2 free throws no matter what. So I can completely miss the first one. That's okay. The other team has 10 team fouls. It's double bonus. I'm going to get to shoot another one. Okay? Technical fouls, like we said, you get 2 free throws, retain possession. You go to mid-court, intentional foul, 2 free throws, retain possession, spot of the foul. Team control fouls, so these are your offensive fouls, more like your charges and stuff like that, you're going to do no free throws, but possession is given to the other team at the spot of the foul. Okay? Those are the results of all of our fouls.
I don't feel like you need to remember how many fouls there are. Like when you come report it afterwards, we'll like tell you if it's 1-1 or if you're in the double bonus. So you don't have to remember like how many fouls there are.
All right, so calling fouls. See the whole play start, develop, and finish. So don't have a quick whistle. Make sure you see the play start, you see what happens, and you see how it finishes. Make sure you're seeing the whole play before you call a foul, okay? Because like Andy said, there might have been a violation that led to the foul, or there might be a violation that happens after the foul. So make sure you're seeing the whole thing, getting all the information you can. That being said, don't wait 30 seconds to call a foul. Once you've seen the whole play, you've processed the information for like 2 seconds, that's when you need to call the foul, okay? We're not saying take forever to call them. Make sure that you guys are just observing it. Make sure you're communicating with your partners, and make sure that you guys are rotating. We'll go over that tomorrow. Make sure you're being active on the court. You're watching your area, and make sure you are helping out. Like Melissa was saying, if there's a question, make sure you're helping out your partners, okay? That's basically what all of this says. For non-shooting fouls, make sure you are inbounding on the sideline. The calling official should say where the ball goes inbounds, okay? Reporting a foul. So if it's a shooting foul, you're going to say whether the basket counts or not counts. That's the first thing out of your mouth, okay? Because we need to let the scoreboard person know whether or not to count it, because otherwise you're gonna call a foul and you're gonna walk all the way to the score table, and your scorekeeper doesn't care anything you say except for did the basket count, because that's the first thing that they need to know, because they have a lot of things they're keeping up with. They're keeping up with timeouts, fouls, score, time, other things they're keeping up with, possession. They're keeping up with a lot of stuff. It is a fast-paced game. And they're also doing it on a scoreboard and a piece of paper. So you need to make sure that you're giving them as much information in the right order. So you're going to do basket counts. You're going to give the color, because we have our score sheet split into 2. So we have white and blue. So you're going to tell them color so they can go to this side of the paper. And then you're going to tell them the number so they can mark it down, and then what the foul was, give the right foul mechanic, and we'll go over that tomorrow when we give out the whistles. And then you're going to say what happens next, okay? So say I have a shooting foul. Cindy makes the bucket. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to say, count the bucket. We have foul on white, number 1, hit, 1 shot, okay?
We're not doing any continuations, sorry.
No.
What?
Continuation?
What do you mean?
Well, not like just the regular and one, like you get like an extra, like how they do.
If I've started my motion to shoot, so.
Like you have that one step, like you get fouled during your one step towards the
So
basket.
I go like this. I pick up my dribble, and I'm on my first step right here. Sydney fouls me. I take my second step. I'm in the act of shooting. So when that ball comes off the floor, you've now become in the act of shooting. So yes, we don't call it continuation.
Yeah.
We call it in the act.
It's the act of shooting.
What you're thinking of is the NBA where they're like foul and they're like,
Well, yeah, not that much.
but
On the first step, right?
you get your normal act of shooting. So dribble, she fouls me. I take my 2 steps, which I'm legally allowed to do. I go to line if I shoot 1 if I make it.
Are we gonna call it over the backs too?
What was that?
Are we calling it over the backs?
Give me the tallest guy in here. Who is that?
This
Somebody
guy back
tall,
here.
come up here.
Jake.
Come here. Taller than me. I'm not putting much strain on you. Now, I'm gonna debunk something that you thought was a foul your entire life. Right here. Do you think he can reach high? Put your hand down. Now, hold that. Hold that straight up in the air. Now, if I go like this, turn a little bit, the other way. There you go. If I go to jump, and he just happens to out-jump me, am I going to penalize him for being tall? So there's no rule, thank you for using your height, I appreciate it. There's no rule called over the back. None.
What if you're boxing them out?
That's different, because now he's got to displace me. So if I put a butt into him and I start backing him out, what's he now going to do when he jumps? He's going to go like this, and he's going to make contact with me, right? So now you have a push in the back. Not over the back, push in the back. So don't penalize somebody for being tall. Now there's a difference. He's allowed to stand right behind me. And if he jumps, and I put a butt into him, and I back him out, who's the foul going to be on? Me. Because I displaced him.
Even so, I mean, if you jump straight up and get boxed out, it's on the guy who boxed him out.
Because they're going to displace you. Yep. Because you're entitled to your spot on the floor.
Right.
And that's a tough thing to explain, to be like, coach says box him out, but as soon as that kid jumps in the air, guess what? You just undercut his legs or her legs. So remember that. If they put a butt into them and they back him out a little bit, completely fine. But as soon as they jump and they're trying to go straight up, but they get knocked off. Now there's a difference between going straight up and then trying to reach over while getting boxed out. Then you're getting displaced. So just remember that. There's no such thing as over the back. If you come out next week and you're like over the back,
Nope.
not gonna happen.
Try again.
Push. Get a push in the back.
All right, so back to reporting fouls. Make sure when you're reporting them, all the officials aren't having their backs to the players. Make sure that the two non-calling officials are watching the players. Because what if I call a foul on Sydney and I turn my back and we all turn around and she gets a cheap shot on someone? How are we going to call that a foul? Okay? So you need to make sure that you are watching them, because when you're calling fouls, it's going to be a heated moment anyway. So make sure you are always keeping eyes and move around the players. Don't go through them. Because it's only going to take one player who's really pissed off about a call, who's going to elbow you, nudge you, and then you're going to have to do something about it. So just nip that in the butt, go around the players, don't go through them. All right, so last thing we're going to talk about tonight is sportsmanship. This is a very important part of our league because A, you guys don't get paid a ton to be out there, so you guys don't deserve to be yelled at and screamed at. B, these people are students first, so they need to be representing our university well. And it is a privilege to be out there, not a right. That being said, we need to make sure that you guys are holding yourself in the right way as well. You need to be talking to our participants in a respectful manner. If you're doing your job and they're just being buttholes, this is where we'll get them, okay? This is sportsmanship rating. It is a 1 through 5 rating system, 1 being absolutely horrible, and there was multiple ejections, and you almost ended the game because it was the worst game in the entire world. 5 being they agreed with every single call, they're perfect angels, they gave high fives to everyone after every score. So both 5 and 1 most likely will not happen a lot on our courts. You never know, it may, but the majority of your games will be in the 2 to 4 range, okay? The reason this is important is because the teams have to have an average of a 3 rating in order to go to the playoffs. They can have outscored every team by 40 points, had that 5-minute mercy rule in every game, but have a 2.6 sportsmanship rating, doesn't matter, they're not going to the next round, okay? That being said, don't abuse that power just because you may not like somebody on that team. Don't give them a 2 just because you don't like them. Make sure you are talking about it with your partners, because a 2 can definitely hurt a team, okay? So this is going through the 1 through 5. Like I said, 5 says they didn't argue with any calls and they were perfect sports. 4 being they argue with some calls, which majority of your teams will argue with 1 or 2 calls. It's going to happen. Everyone has their own opinion, their own view of the game. But they're respectful towards officials and opposing teams. So that's going to be that one player that every now and again they call a foul and they're going to look at you and go, really? Okay. And keep moving on. Yes, sir.
So all the officials are going to have to agree on this number. It's not going to be individual scores, correct?
Right.
It's going
to be one score. More than likely you guys will agree on it.
Yeah.
3 being they're a fairly average team. They argued on several calls. If there was a technical, maybe 2, we'll give them a 3. More than likely, if there's that second technical foul, we'll move more into the 2 range. But if you do get in the 2 range, you need to have documentation if there is a 2 or a 1. That means our supervisor as soon as you say, okay, we're gonna give them a 2 sportsmanship rating, they should take out a pen and that score sheet and say, okay, why? Because we need to be able to justify not putting them in the playoffs. Because a 2 or a 1 are going to be the reasons they don't go to the playoffs. So they're going to write down why. So when that team comes to us right before playoffs start and says, why am I not in the playoffs? We have justification right in front of us telling them why. Okay? So these 2, you need to make sure that you are letting our supervisors know. If you do have an ejection, make sure you let our supervisors know, because we have lovely paperwork for them to fill out. And you will also have to put your account on the paperwork too. And then in order for that player who was ejected, in order for them to come back and play, they have to come meet with Andy, Danny, or Zach and talk to them about why their actions led to an ejection and why they'll never do it again, or hopefully never do it again. They're repeat offenders. They could get several game suspension. If it's their first time and it wasn't a huge technical or a huge ejection, maybe they kicked a ball once because they were frustrated and then they dropped the F-bomb. 2 soft technical fouls in my book, and they got tossed, and it's their first offense. More than likely they'll get a game, maybe 2, depending on how nice Andy's feeling that day. So depending on how egregious it is, depends on how much they're going to be suspended. So this is also why documentation is very important. We need you to write down as much as you can. Okay? Here's some different ways handle conflict. If somebody doesn't personally attack you and says, oh, that call was horrible, or can you believe this? This is awful, to another player, but they're not straight up saying anything about you or another player on the court, you're just going to leave it alone. Unless it's something that they're yelling really loud. So Sydney makes a call and I go, that is horrible, and keep walking. You can use a quiet word at that moment, unless it's multiple times. She says it after every call. That's when you're going to start addressing it with technical fouls or giving them a public warning. If they use profanity at any moment or they attack you at any moment, that is when you need to start using your technical fouls and ejections. Okay? So as soon as they yell profanity loud enough for someone beyond the person next to him to hear it, you need to say something. Obviously, if I miss a shot and I say the F word under my breath, we're not going to call it technical. We're not going to be that ticky-tack about it, okay? But you do need to address it. You need to say, hey, watch your language. But we're not going to say, hey, watch your language. Hey, watch your language. Hey, watch your language. We're not going to be saying that the whole game. Eventually, you have to do something about it, okay? So don't give multiple warnings out. If they bait an opponent at all, they taunt them, it's an automatic ejection. We don't deal with that at all in our leagues, okay? So anytime they say, ball don't lie, can't guard this or anything like that, you guys need to be addressing that as soon as it happens. Because if you let that go and then the player turns around and punches them, what are you going to do? Now you have 2 players you have to worry about. So if you nip that in the bud as soon as it happens, you don't have to worry about that second retaliation. Okay? So these are a few tools that we put in your toolbox. So the first one is a quiet word. It's just that 1-on-1 word. You could be just, walking down the court and say, hey, I heard that, or hey, watch your language, or anything like that. Just standing next to him, not making a big deal. Maybe the person next to him hears what you're saying, but someone across the court shouldn't know that you're addressing something they did. Because it could be just out of frustration, just a one-time thing. We don't want to embarrass somebody because they got in the heat of the moment. It is a competitive environment. It is going to happen a little bit. A public warning is when you are across the court or even a little bit closer, she drops the F-bomb or is complaining about a call every single time. You go, that's enough, and you put a stop sign up. So you're saying it louder so that everyone on the court can hear it. You're also giving them a visual that that's not going to be, you're not going to take that anymore, okay? Next is a captain's meeting. This is when you can stop play. All right, captains, come talk to me. You need to do this early, because if you do this right before overtime and say, hey, let's watch our language, let's make sure we're nice to everybody. If you're going into overtime, it's a heated game, is that captain's meeting even going to do anything? No. If anything, it's going to rile them up more. So make sure, if anything, you can do that captain's meeting before halftime, or if you need to, maybe right immediately following halftime, or you can use that 3-minute break to talk to the captains. You want to do it then. But make sure you are keeping the captains accountable, because Whether they know it or not, they're in charge of their team's behavior and their team's knowledge of the game. So if you have any issues with a player and they say, well, we never heard that rule, be like, well, it's your captain's job to know those type of things, okay? If you have something where you have a spectator in a box yelling curse words, and obviously you're going to have your back to the team box, and no one's owning up to saying those words or taunting the other team, you can put that technical foul on the captain, okay? And that's something where you want to be like, hey, captain, you don't get him to shut up, I'm going to put a technical foul on you. And then you better believe he's going to shut that guy up pretty quick, okay? Technical foul, it's going to be an easy one for you to use. Use this only when it needs to be used. Any questions about when you should use a technical foul? It should be fairly obvious. Perfect. All right, an ejection. This should be your last resort because like I said, if that person gets suspended for a game, it could affect that team's ability to go to the playoffs, win a game, anything like that. So you should only give this out if it's warranted. Ejection. And again, 2 technical fouls can result in an ejection. Don't make any threats that you aren't planning on keeping. So if you said one more word and you're gone, what do you think they're going to say if they're a smart aleck? They're going to say word, right? And then you're going to have to do something about it for them saying literally the word. So make sure that you aren't making threats that you aren't going to keep. And make sure you draw your line in concrete, not sand. So don't say, okay, one more hissy fit or one more complaint about a call, it's a technical foul. And then they complain about a call and you don't do anything about it. Or one time when I was reffing in a game, in my captain's meeting, I said, okay, if we see any jewelry, it's going to be a technical foul. Somebody steps on the court, has a hairband around their wrist. Play didn't even start. The other player was like, you're going to call it a technical foul? She's got something on her wrist. Play hadn't even started, okay? So make sure you are nipping those kind of things in the butt. You're not making threats that you can't keep or that you don't, you know what I mean? So to make sure you're not saying those type of things, because you're going to have to follow up on them and you're going to feel like a butt for doing it.
So I'm sitting over here thinking about how we would do this, and I was like, build a rapport with the players. How many of you are playing intramural sports? A lot of you, right? So you're going to be officiating a lot of your peers. So you may know a few people out there. Build a rapport with them out there. What I've done and what I've done over the years is, if they make a nice pass, you get a chance. Hey, I like the pass. Nice no-look pass. Nice hit in the three-pointer in the corner. Or as I said jokingly today in the office, some kid went up for a dunk in the game a couple days ago, and I go, 9.5 out of 10. And he laughed at it. Guess who I can go to on the floor? The kid that I got to laugh. Obviously we can't have that out there because they're not allowed to dunk. But I went and I talked to him. So if you have the ability, hey, work with me. Listen to them. When a player comes and says, will you watch the pushing underneath? What are they telling you? Somebody's fouling and they're doing their job for you. Oh, I'm watching this kid? All right. Shove. Thanks. Appreciate it. Made my job easier. Develop a look or a way to handle some of this conflict. I develop a look. That's enough! And that's all I have to say. Or I look at it and go, hey! Especially when you get 2 idiots going at it trying to get position in a dead ball. I could be the referee out of bounds, getting ready to bounce it into play. These 2 idiots are going at it. I look at them and say, I have the ball. They look at you like, we ain't starting play, it's still in my hand. And as you're doing this, time is still ticking because we have a running clock, so you're getting paid not to do any officiating. So you look at them and say, stop! A few more seconds, they don't stop, then you whack them with technical. Are you looking? Alright. Or, I love doing this. These 2, watch them. Now what does that tell my partners? And everybody else that's playing basketball tonight. We're watching these 2 right here. I don't have to do anything else. Watch these 2 and walk away. They'll be like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. They did. Well, we're watching. So just remember that. Build some rapport and develop your style. I've done this 12 years. I've done a lot of officiating. Watch these 2. Or stop it. Or just develop a look. Find what works for you. How many of you officiated before minus this kid right here? What sports?
Soccer and basketball.
Soccer and basketball. You got any yellow cards, technicals?
No, they were like elementary schools.
All right. Technicals?
Yeah, yellow cards.
Yellow cards? Once you give out that first technical or yellow card, you're like, all right, now they're going to start flowing. Because you're like, oh, you did something wrong with band. You did something wrong with band. To get over that first hurdle of calling a technical, what's a technical foul? It's another foul, right? Except they get 2 shots in the ball. So just remember that. It's there for your use. We got a couple videos up here.
Yes, we do.
And we'll show you how you should call it, or when you should call technical fouls.
Taunting.
That fool should have been gone. Don't penalize this kid for being a not so good basketball player. Penalize him for being an idiot. It's obviously a blowout game. I'm gonna push play on this one. Why would you tee him up? He threw the ball. I had to use this line before. Kid goes like this. He stop it. Goes like this. Bounce the ball and to catch it right here. Real mad. Real forcefully. Ball goes to the ceiling, comes back down. You know what technical? Absolutely. What I tell them is, ball doesn't come back down, I wouldn't hit it with technical. And they're like, well, it's always going to come down. You're always going to get technical. If it stays up in the rafters, I'll let you go. But you bounce it and that thing goes above your head, you don't catch it, or it slips through your hands because you're frustrated. Sometimes they'll just go like this and walk away. That's an absolute technical. They catch it, I'm fine, they're pissed. And it goes up. It goes up, it comes back down, technical foul. This is the closest to a fight we've ever gotten. And you can see this is how... I don't throw them, I just give it technical. Alright, so watch this play. This is a game I had. The coach wants a foul right about here. We don't give him the foul. Right there is where he wanted a foul. No foul. We turn it over. You can see him. He's on my butt. He's out of his coach's box. I call foul. You point and yell at me, I'm going to point and yell at you back. So, know why they're mad. Know the why behind this. I knew he wanted a foul down here, and then I put a foul on his play. I was like, we had nothing down there. I had an easy foul down here. He admitted it was an easy foul down on his end. But when he goes, you're the reason my big guys have 2 fouls that are on the bench. Attack me, right? Pretty simple. Play it forward and try to pause it when I actually tee him up. When I tee him up, I try not to get mad. I like giving out technicals, especially the coaches, make them sit down and shut up. So, we go down this floor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's a foul right there. Pause. Go a little bit further. Oh, I'm sorry. See if you can slide that back up to that. Pretty animated. You see bring it up, play it just a little bit. Now pause. See how I walked away from him? Coach is mad right here, right? Guess what? When I go, stop the clock, hit the technical. Now what does he or she have to do if they want to come talk to me? They have to come to me. So I hit him with the technical and I walk away. I'll go talk to him later. I don't care. I'll go have my partner talk to him. But now in video, if he comes at me, guess who's the instigator? That person, not me. I walk away. So it shows up on video. It's just like giving this signal right here. Hey, I'm done. I'm walking away. I walked away, give the technical. All right, this is just a fun one. Oh, no you didn't. Bullshit. Woo! All right. Bench is clear. Gone, gone, gone.
Taking like 3
Wait. Gone, gone, gone. Look at that. She's running the heels. Good for her. There's about 5 people that are going on this. I show this because it's funny that bench is clear and gone. You never know what's going to happen when the ball goes dead. We have the foul, you think, hey, we're good. And all of a sudden, whoo, here comes the haymaker. Our old coordinator before Danny got here was involved in a fight last year. This girl just, whoop! Luckily she missed. Somebody came off the bench and they missed it. I have the video, I won't show it. But just remember that if anybody comes off the bench, the game's going to be over. You have a fight, the game's over. Short of what you just call the two shoving. If somebody come in and try to throw a punch, ball game, you're gone. Oh, and then just sit back and take notes. As Laura would reiterate, you don't get paid enough to stop the fight. I don't get paid enough to stop the fight. You get paid to have a front row seat to the fight. Take notes. You go to the scores. White 32 threw first one. Blue 15 threw one back. 12 came off the bench. White 13 came off the bench. Tonight, now we'll just start taking notes. There's also this other thing you call a Fox 40 in your hand. Emits like 140 decibels. They get close to a fight, you blow that as loud as you can. Guess what he's going to do if I blow my whistle right here? You can go like that, right? Use it. Use a friend. Hey, better stop him because I'm not. Away you go. All right, then click to the next one. All right, watch right about here. This is what I'm going to end on. There's nothing there. His pants just haven't come down. I put that in there just so you have a good laugh again. Goes up for a rebound, his drawers go down. At first when I saw this, I went, what the hell just happened? Stop the play, somebody gets the ball so he can pull his shorts back up. Alright, so we're ending the evening tonight. There's a lot of things we got to take care of, or a few things we got to take care of first. If you were at the meeting on Tuesday or Thursday night last week, we are back here tomorrow evening at 6.